What is going on? You already know it's your boy Morbius. It is Tuesday, which means it's another episode of Comic Relief, man. And I'm excited today because we got our amazing guests with us. And of course, we got homies hanging out with us, and we got y'all hanging out with us. So, you know what? Let's get into the show. Let's get it started. Yeah, what is going on? What is going on? What up, Krash?
Chilling, man. What's good with you, broski?
Yeah, I felt like I just saw you yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't it yesterday? Yeah,
was
it was yesterday.
Was it last Tuesday? Yeah,
It's one of those.
Whatever, my brother. How you been, my brother?
Good, good. You know, can't complain. It's been a cool week so far. Hasn't been too crazy. It's been manageable, so can't complain really. How about yourself?
Hanging in there, my brother. Feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Coming back feels great. You know what I mean? Getting on the grind again. You know, always gotta constantly be rattling the brain to come up with stuff. I love it, man. It's been a while. Being taken off, I got a little lazy, you know what I'm saying? You kind of like, you don't gotta worry about this, blah, blah, blah. But now getting back on it, you gotta get out that, you know what I'm saying, rhythm that you were in before and be like, yo, work mode now. We gotta get back to it. And I love it, man. It's been exciting, man, getting back to this season 2. I'm excited. We got a great guest with us. You know what I'm saying? I actually ran into this brother over the weekend over at King Con. Shout out to the people at King Con, man. It was always a great time hanging out there. And of course, like I said, this brother's hanging out with us today. So why don't we bring this brother in already? DJ Linx, what is good, my brother?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Thank you for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. It was great running into you on Saturday. I had a good time chopping it up and stuff like that. And I just appreciate the opportunity to come on here and kick it with you guys.
Definitely, man. Thank you for coming on, man. For real, man. I appreciate you. Always checking out your stuff, man. Guys, make sure if you're not following this gentleman, make sure to follow him. And if you're not following him, grab that comic book next to you and slap yourself 30 times with it. You should have been following this man. You know what I mean? So please follow him. This link is in the description. And before we get started with this, let's just get to the chat. Let's see who is hanging out with us today. We got a few people here. We still early, so they're going to start rolling in. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to one of the homies. Oh, that's what's up. We got Big John in the building. Yo, John, you know how to represent. Got to do the Biggie John's Comic with Kids shirt. You know what I mean?
What's up, John?
Got the shirt a while back. Haven't had a chance to wear it. Figure, you know what? Let me throw it on today, man. And we got the homie Big Daddy John in the building. What's going on, my brother? Salute to you, man. Had a great time. Terrificon, man. We got a blast out there. You know. Oh, we got Leroy. What's going on? Been a minute, man. We back, baby.
What up, Leroy?
You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Oh, it jumped on me. We jumped. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got Inja Binja in the house. What's going on? Oh, you know, we stay triggered here. You know, what we do's, you know. Ben Parker, what's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us today. Oh, we got another homie, another family up in the building. Justin, what's good, my brother? Appreciate you as usual, always coming through, representing, hanging out with the family. Oh, it keeps jumping on me. Hold on a second. What's going on? Oh, and we got another homie in the house. Doom Card, what's good, my brother? Appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us, man. Always a pleasure to see everybody hanging out with us. I know we got people coming in. Oh, got more people just dropping in. Actual Dracula, what's good, man? Salute to you. It's been a while. I haven't seen you, man. Hope everything is good, brother. You know, all right, what we got here? I think we caught up for now. We'll be back to the chat. So before we get into this topic of today, which we're going to be talking about, if you grade your books, why you grade your books, and if you don't grade your books, why you don't grade your books, and everything else in between. You know how we do here. And before we get started, let's get to this. Cheers. Salute to everybody. Salute to my guests. Salute to my co-hosts. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Let's have a good night tonight.
Cheers.
Salute, brother. Salute.
Cheers, baby. All right. Let's see what we got here, man. So my brother, DJ Linx, man.
What's goody?
I know there has been a lot of talk, and the reason why I brought this up is because a lot of stuff that's going on that I saw recently with CGC, a lot of this, they just been dropping the ball on a lot of things, and everything that happened with the whole acetate cover, and they were fucking, pretty much just, putting their cosign on it, so I really wanted to bring this out, and somebody I know that I just saw your post you had recently sent out a few books to CGC. So I figured, you know what? Let me reach out to this brother. Let me have him on here and just have this topic for somebody who does, submit books to CGC. And of course, if those who don't know, of course, I don't slab books. I don't Krash doesn't slab. So these are just, I figured this would be a great conversation piece for us to have, both sides, pretty much give their reasons, or their, beliefs behind it. Let's just say, you know what I mean? So let's just start. Let's start with Krash. Krash, what's your take on it, bro? I know you don't slab books, but give me a small take of what's behind that. What is the reason behind you not slabbing your books?
For me, the only purpose for me I see in slabbing, well, first of all, it's not cheap. So for me, it has to be something bigger that I'm getting out of it, right? So I'm moving the direction of, because we're in the age that we're in, the digital age, I know that CGC is widely recognized, and they have their respect to a lot of people who buy stuff online. When you don't have the advantage of being able to really physically see and look at the comic, you need a cosign from a trusted source. So therefore, a lot of people, that's the trusted source of CGC. So whenever I'm going to start selling my comics, that is when I'm going to go CGC it. Of course, I'm only going to do it to the really high valuable ones. I'm not going to CGC anything under $100. If it's over $100, maybe over $200, then I strongly consider CGCing it, because then it gives the buyer a lot more security and a lot more relief and a lot more surety of what they're getting when you're trying to sell your stuff. So that being said, it ain't worth it for me to CGC until I'm about to sell it. I know a lot of people don't like CGCing because they want to touch their comics, look at them, which is great, yeah. But I can also read my comic books online. I'd rather not handle my comic books the way I used to. I love looking at my books, don't get me wrong, but half my books I won't read them so that I can preserve the quality. I'll just read them online because I got a free service. I don't have to pay for it. So, and I take it from there, especially like a lot of the new issues. I like looking at my old issues, but the new ones, I barely even crack those open. I stick those straight in the plastic bag of the board, and I read them online.
To like kind of retain the grade on it, or just or you just do it just to do it, or?
Well, no. At this point, it's to retain the quality of it. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's more than just the appreciation I had with the comic books. It's always been more than just the appreciation of the comic books. For me, I wouldn't say always, but I would say maybe about 10 years after I started collecting, I realized that I can get more out of this than just enjoying the book, that people will actually pay for this, for me, to take it off my hands, or I can trade it for a book that I don't have. And I thought that was amazing. I was like, wow, this is really something else. And it was at that moment I said, you know what? This is going to be part of my retirement. I buy, because I'm not the type of person that buys a lot of back issues. I've been collecting comic books since the 80s, and I usually get the comics when they came out. There's a very small percentage of my books that I went back to go get. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that my collection consists of things that I got them when it came out for the most part.
Right.
So that being said, the cost is minimal on my part, which means that, in about another 10, 15 years, when I go to sell it, it's going to be a great profit. And at that point, that was, like I said, it was my 20s that I realized, I said, you know what? This could be something. Let me just keep on collecting, because the motivation is love, of course. But at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt to take care of your shit so that you can get something out of it, afterwards.
Right. No, definitely. I definitely could see where you're coming from. Linx, before we go to you, I just want to say real quick to my little girl, Lily. Hi, Lily. Hope you're having a good time. She's always watching.
Hi,
so
Lily.
Even though she's like in the next room over, but she's watching. How you doing, mommy? Love you. But Linx, what's your take on it, brother? Why do you grade your comics?
Yeah, so I'm gonna approach this as what works specifically for me, right? So I'm not endorsing CGC. I'm not telling anybody to go out and slap their shit, CBCS, whatever. What works for me is, so I have, for the PC, I have like about 100 slabs, and all of those are like major key books. And the impetus for me to grade those books is just to preserve it. Now I'm talking about there are a lot of big books, and eventually, God forbid, something were to happen, I know I'll be able to get a lot of bread for those books as opposed to having them raw. And
Mhm.
these are all PC books. I hope I will never sell these any day, but they're there, and that additional investment to get it graded is just gonna help it down the line if I ever had to sell it, which I hope I wouldn't. Now, I don't see a difference for me because some people are pro CGC, some people are pro CBCS. For me, there's
Right.
not a difference.
Okay.
It's all based on price. So originally, I was a CGC guy until CBCS. They switched up their slab, and their slab is actually a better slab. It's sturdy, it's stocky, it's a dope ass slab.
Yeah, I know
And
it's hard to crack. I know it gives me a harder time to crack the shit.
yeah, which is crazy. And then CBCS like raised their prices ridiculous, so I went back to CGC, and CGC increased their turnaround times and all that stuff. But that's mainly like the PC books. I want to preserve them, so they're in the slabs, they're in the boxes. I'm not like a grade snob. I'm not trying to submit a book, and obviously we all want 9.8s, but I'm realistic about the grades coming back. Um, Everything that I have for the majority that I send out to get slabbed, it's like I said, it's either a major key or it's a cover that I absolutely love. I try to stay away from submitting modern stuff
Right.
because investing that additional $35 and then the shipping and all that stuff, it doesn't always turn out, especially if you're gonna try to sell it. Because I'll be honest, I sell books too from time to time. I open 1,000 mystery boxes. You think I'm keeping everything?
Right. Right.
So
I was wondering.
yeah, no. So you do that additional investment, get something slabbed, and hopefully you'll get a return on it. Especially now with the turnaround times being good for CGC. Like I submitted and got shit back like in 2-3 weeks, which is insane.
Wow.
So from a seller's perspective, if you want to do that additional investment, then that's fine. But
Right.
for me, yeah, it either has to be a major key or a hot cover. Like I slabbed a whole bunch of Thanos covers, $2 books, $3 books. But Thanos is my guy. Thanos the
Right.
Incredible Hulk, just like you. And it's just stuff that I love. And what happens is eventually one day I want to do like a wall, you know what I mean? Or a nice wall, a nice display, and it'll look
Yeah.
cool in the slab or whatever. But yeah, like I'm not telling people to go out and endorse this stuff because there's a lot of fuckery that goes on with these companies, especially
Yeah.
like with the grades. If you're sending something in and you're hoping it comes back a 9.8 or 9 whatever, chances are that's not going to happen 9 out of 10
Right.
times. That's what I would say. If you send it in, if you just want it slabbed, but there's
Right.
also other alternatives, right? You could slab it yourself. Comic Guards, I think, is the name of one.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they sell those guards that you don't even have to send it in.
Yeah.
So that was one of my bigger arguments early on, where it was like with the whole preservation thing. It was just like, well, they sell cases
Yeah.
outside of these grading companies, so that's I always felt like that's not an excuse. Like that's not a good enough excuse when people say they want to preserve it, and it also degrades in the case. There's actually proof on that.
Yeah.
Over a certain amount of time, it does degrade. That's why they suggest to regrade your book after a certain amount of time, because it also degrades. That paper inside breaks down eventually. So it's all these things where, like, so to me, well, one thing I wanted to ask you: how long have you been collecting? That's something I never got.
Yeah. So it's funny. So with comic books, I got into it during the pandemic with like pull list stuff and reading. So I read a lot with slabs. I want to say 2017, because obviously we all collected growing up, right?
Right.
So and then I wound up selling my collection. I had my daughter really young, so I had to sell my collection and shit like that. And then with slabs, I started getting slabs. So before I got raw comic books that I'm reading, I was just collecting slabs. So I thought it was cool. So my fourth book was a Hulk 181.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so shit like that. So I started buying slabs before I even started getting floppies.
I gotcha. Oh, all right, that's what's up. I thought it was longer than that. I thought you was collecting.
So it's like with any collector, right? So it was like in my teens. So from like not even teens, when I was like in 4th grade up onto middle school, junior high school, and then into high school. Like I had my daughter. my wife was pregnant while we were in high school. So I graduated and she was
Right.
still in high school. So immediately I sold off my entire collection. And then this was 1998. And then I started recollecting when I started getting some bread in like 2000, 2001, 2002. And then
Okay.
again, in when I was like 26, 27, I wound up selling it because it just took up a lot of space. And that's when I got into figures and shit like that. And then with the pandemic, I just jumped full force right into it. But back to the original point, yeah, my whole thing originally, like when I got back into it this time, phase 4 was
Right.
slabs. So I was
Phase
just
4.
doing slabs, yeah.
Where I like that phase 4. See, you got a lot of people in the chat there, like give it. They got guys who just prefer their Mylars with top loaders. You know, you got other guys. Shout out Blue Cow. What's going on? Regular bags and boards enough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had Sove up here, you know, who was saying thick boards and a Mylar all day.
Yeah.
You know, which is that's where I fall right there. You know what I mean? I'm just like heavy backboard, you know, Mylars. You know, that's where I stand. You know, I guess for me, obviously, it's obvious. I don't slab my books. Never. I got enticed. You know, when the whole thing started. You know, back in 2000, and you know, it was like you get that first like initial like, oh, what's this about? You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, let me try this out. You know, and I never sent out to get graded. I purchased, you know, them graded already, you know. So I was like, oh, let me see what this is about. I picked up a graded book. I'm like, okay, you know, I put it aside. And then it was like, fuck, you know, I want to read this, you know, and then it was like, oh yeah, you could read it digitally, but it was like, yeah, but I'd rather read the book. You know what I mean? It was one of those for me because that's just I was just accustomed to that. It was just habit, you know, because you know, for those who don't know, I've been collecting for a long time, steady. I stopped for a couple years in the 2000s. You know, when it came the whole slab era started, that's kind of where I fell back. The family, you know, everything, the kids and all that. Then came back in like early 2014, you know, 15 is why we're like, well, Miles Morales, that whole, you know, Spider Gwen, all of that came. That's when I started picking up books again, you know, heavy again. And so that, you know, to me, it was just like when I came back, those slabs that I had were like, nah, it was just like, I can't. Like to me, it didn't wrap my head because when you looked at it, then I started looking into it and it was like, man, there's no standard to this shit. Anybody could fucking grade. You know what I mean? Even people who don't even fucking collect or read comic books could grade. And I'm gonna trust these people. You know, it's like hell no. You know what I'm saying? And there's like I said it once again, there was no standard. And me personally, I just never cared for the money value of it. You know what I mean? To me, it was always just about the book, the artist, the story, just the nostalgia to it in general is what actually keeps me where I'm at, you know, because all these books that I'm even buying now are books that I remember seeing in the past. And it was like, man, I never grabbed that book. So now the value to me is more owning the book than actual what's its worth. You know, and being like Krash, a lot of these books that you see, like even behind me in my collection, I got as a, you know, growing up. You know, these are a lot of these books that I got off the rack, you know. So to me, I was lucky enough to stay consistent, you know, up to the 2000s, you know, collecting since 85, you know. So I was lucky enough and have two older brothers, because I always say that, you know, thanks to my older brothers who started before me, who influenced me and, you know, gave me a box or two and was like, yo, here. You know, when my brother went to the army, he gave me his collection, you know, and I was like, you never got it back. You know, sorry, bro.
Nah, same.
That's it. It's a wrap. But, you know, so to me, it was just never like money. Even to this day, I just like, I don't see the concept when I look at my books. I look at them like this issue, this artist, to this run, to this, you know, this history behind, like, I own it. Like, this is awesome. Like, for me, that's enough. You know, and I've always been that way. So I think that to me, as far as the grading process, when I saw it from the outside in, like, I mean, outside looking in, I was just like, man, this shit is like, it's almost like a scam to me. You know what I mean? Because when you look at it, to me, that's how my view was. It's like, damn, this shit is a scam. You know, because you got this third party entity who has no experience with comic books, but yet they're telling guys who have 30, 40 years experience, this is what the comic book grade is. And you're looking at it and you're like, bro, this is not no fucking whatever you want to give it. Like, it's the total opposite. Or they might give a grade where you're like, nah, this is not a 9.8. This is definitely like a 9.0 or 8.5, and it comes back a 9.8. And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I mean, it all depends. It all depends if the grader got laid the night before.
that's what I'm saying. Or he walked in and his shorty was in bed with somebody. You getting a 6.0.
Get a 6, yeah.
You getting a 6, son. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these are like almost emotionally based grades. Like, you know what I mean? Like dudes are just grading shit because that's how they feel like that day in that moment. It would be different if it was like a computer, you know, AI that just fucking constantly is consistent on it. What boom, boom, like that's different. Then I'll be like, okay, I can respect this on how they're coming out, you know. But when it comes to like an individual's like own perspective, like there's no standard. You can't, you know, they can't do that.
No,
you know, and to me, that's just the way I see it. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way I see it. Like to me, it's about
I agree with you 100%. There isn't a standards in place, and for me, like standards are like paramount. Like in my job, I'm all about standardization and process. So even the grading, like that should not be subjective. So for example, I got Something is Killing the Children, #1, first print, cover A, right? And it's a CGC 9.8. It does not deserve a 9.8. So it's a 9.4 at best. It's like on the back with marks and color breaking ticks. So to your point, yeah, there should be some like standards adopted across the board and transparency with your customer base. Like you should be able to go onto their website and be like, yo, see a stupid little video. This is how we do it. If it's 1 tick, it's a 9.6. If it's 2, it's this like that.
No.
And they don't do that.
No.
Which is a missed opportunity on all the grades.
Definitely. I mean, think about it. If we didn't have standard in like our food, like we'll be dead. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if there wasn't standards in like our school system, like I mean, don't even get me started because the school system ain't the best either. But in general, you know, there's standards and curriculums, you know what I'm saying? That people, you know, you gotta have standards, man. Just like to me, that's the key thing when it comes, you know, to the whole grading system, and just having like this third party entity like monopolizing on it. And then on top of that, they're fucking you, right?
Yeah.
They're on top of that, they're like spitting in your face when they give you a shitty grade, or when they fuck you on some other shit that they're doing. Or let's say they lose their book. You know what I'm saying? They'll go and lose your fucking book. And then it's like, what can you do then? You know what I'm saying? Like
that just happened with CBCS, right? Where they lost.
Right. They lost all these hundreds of fucking books. And it's like, oh, well, you know, but at the end of the day, they're going to just still have people submit, which is normal. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we understand it's about the money. And real quick disclaimer, I don't care if you do slab. Like I have many of friends who slab, so please don't put me in that category that I'm a slab hater or I don't associate with slabbers. Like stop it. Like freaking like my whole circle fucking got slabs, you know. So it's like stop, you know. But right, you know what I mean. It's just that's not my cup of tea. That's all it is, you know. And but that's my, you know, pretty much my whole emphasis behind, you know, CGC. I just felt like, who are they? You know what I mean? To dictate that, and to corner that market, and then to take control of the comic book market in that sense, because what they did now, they fucked up everything for just the average collector. So if you're not just a regular person like myself who just purely collects comic books, I don't sell books, you know, I'll trade, but I don't sell books. You know what I mean? I just collect and read, and that's it. That's what guys like us, you know, are the ones who got fucked. You know, with this whole CGC shit, you know, it's like we didn't, because to us it wasn't about the money factor. So if you're making money, amen to you, amen to you. You know, if that's your end goal, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I get that, you know what I mean. My thing is just at least be man enough to say it, because there are a lot of people who do this and then they try to be shady with it. Like, no,
I'll send shit in to sell.
Exactly, like just keep it real, right? Like just keep it real.
No, just to point on that, I don't sell a lot of stuff. Like I have my mystery boxes, I have my eBay stuff. If there's something good, I'll send it in to sell. I'll put it in a Linx box. Right. What happens is I'm trying to get, if it's something that I don't like, it doesn't make any sense to have it just sitting in my room where I barely have enough space as it is. So if I'm able to sell that, like let's say like if it's a key that doesn't fit my collection, right? It's some shit, I don't know. And if I'm able to take that book and it comes back or whatever grade, and I'm able to sell it for $600, with that $600, I'm able to get $600 keys and give it away on my channel. I do a lot of
Right.
giveaways.
Yeah, I noticed that. You got a giveaway going on right now. Why don't you talk about it real quick? Talk about it.
What?
You got a giveaway. Don't you have you had a
Do I?
giveaway going on recently?
I always got giveaways. I don't know which one you're talking about right now, but we're doing our road to 3,000 subscribers. And when we hit the 3,000
There you
subscribers,
go.
yeah, our road to 3,000 subscribers, when we hit that, I already have myself, I have 10 slabs already lined up that I'm going to give away. So to my point, like I'm investing in all this stuff and I'm putting that money back into the channel. Like I'm fortunate enough to live a comfortable life or whatever. And I just want to give back to my channel. So what my channel memberships and stuff and people that are paying the $5 a month, I want them to have value. So every little single thing that I make, whether it's from mystery boxes, from selling slabs, my YouTube monetization, my members fees that I get, every single dime goes back into the channel. And it's not when people say, yo, it's to buy new equipment or buy new lighting. Nah, I'm giving it back to the channel members. So that's why I sell stuff and all that. I'm not like just trying to sell stuff and, walk down the block looking fly.
Right. You giving back, which is great. You know what I mean? And I appreciate those who give back, honestly. You know what I mean? You got people who do it for the show. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It look good, but you got people who do it genuinely. And those are the people we appreciate, because they're about the community and they want to support the community that's supporting them. You know what I mean? And that's important. But yeah, definitely, man. I mean, Krash, I know you haven't I haven't heard. I know you've been quiet over here. Is there
my bad, I talk too much?
No, man. Hey, brother, you the guest, brother. You can talk all fucking night. It's all good, brother.
Of course, yeah. But what I wanted to interject with was I was reading some of the comments and something that John had said, which is the same thing that DJ Linx has said, was about to preserve the quality of the book. So, but I know there's a lot of other ways to preserve that quality. I know Morbius has said that people will say, well, no, I just get it CGC just for the quality. But as Morbius stated, you can actually get those things. But then I also realized that if you're going to spend that much money on that plastic shit, you might as well send it to CGC and get an official okie doke out of it. You know what I mean? So, but as far as the quality, because I know that's the main thing that people say about the CGC thing, about preserving the quality. But I mean, there's so many different ways and way cheaper ways to preserve the quality. You know what I mean? Mylars or just a bag and board. You know what I mean? I got boxes that don't see light hardly to preserve the quality. Yeah. I got books that I've had that I got when I was, back in '86. That is great. I had it in a Mylar. I took it out one time. The whole time I've owned it. And I guarantee you, if I go get it graded, it's probably 9.6, 9.7. Right. But it was just a Mylar. You know what I'm saying? So back to my point, just to let you answer the question, why if it's about preserving the integrity of the book, why don't you consider other options outside of grading it for the integrity of it?
Well, I think that I mean, if Linx, you got saying, you want to chime in on that, but to me, from my perspective, the only reason why you would use any of these grading companies is because of a monetary value that grade gives to the book that eventually you can make, off of. That's my understanding from it, that because like you said, if there's another option, why not take that option? Well, the only dividing factor within those two options is money.
Yeah.
So, right? It's like I had a person tell me one time that, I only collect 9.8 slabs, but I don't care about the money. I said that is the most asinine shit you can ever say, because
that doesn't make sense.
The whole point of a 9.8 is to get the highest grade or highest hash value for that book, which is a 9.8 or a gem mint.
Or bragging rights.
Or bragging rights. I was
gonna say, or bragging rights. Like my entire collection is 9.8.
I got a whole bunch of 9.8s. But that bragging right comes with monetary value behind it, because that's the whole point of the bragging rights, is because I got bread. I got 9.8s. So you can have bragging rights is a fucking bullshit, but you know what I mean? The whole point of that validates those bragging rights is the money behind it. You know, so once again, this person wanted to say it's not about the money, but it's like, bro, if it's just about a condition of a book, like me, if I find a slab that's a 7.5 fucking sharp book, clean, you know what I mean? I got it under value of what I would get it even in a raw in that same condition. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna crack it, you know what I'm saying? I'm put it in the box, mm-hmm. you know, or on the wall, you know, and that's how I see it. You know, I don't need a 9.8. You come on, somebody here, tell me, can you really tell the difference between a 9.8, 9.6, 9.7, 9.675? Like, no, in reality, you really can't. You know what I'm saying? That shit is subjective. It's all subjective. So my point to that is like, when it comes to like CGC and the whole grading aspect of it, when it comes to not using CGC, is money. You know what I mean? Because that's the bottom dollar. And to me, that's my argument behind it. You know, because I feel like, what else would there be? It's the same preservation. You know what I'm saying? You're getting the same stuff. You yourself can even do extra work to even preserve it more. You get what I'm saying? So there's really no necessary. When you got guys who are like 70 years old showing you books that look like they're fresh off the rack and they bought that book 45 years ago, you know what I'm saying? You cannot tell me, and it's not slab. It's in a fucking mylar backboard in a box, nice temperature, you know, no sunlight hitting it. Like in my room, I got LED lights. I got blackout fucking shades. I got tinted blackout windows on my shit. You know what I'm saying? I turn the light off, close the doors. I can't even see the hand in front of my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that black and it's dark in here, you know, but the lighting is all LED. So it's not burning out my fucking white covers. You know what I'm saying? Like the sunlight would. You know, so it's like there are ways, you know, so that's why I feel like, to me, and of course, I'm gonna give you your chance to speak, Linx. I just wanted to get this out from my perspective. You know what I'm saying? That was my perspective, that it is a monetary thing when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I think like in a, you know, a raw XYZ is gonna go probably for more in a slab that a high grade, which I totally understand. Exactly. And the preservation of the book, like for me, that's my preferred method, is having it slab, but that's not the only preservation method. You could put the shit in a Ziploc between two encyclopedias and you'll be good.
You good, right? You know what I'm saying?
But that's just my my method, because that's how I got into it. That's how I started collecting, was through the slabs first, like I mentioned at the top. But it's definitely a monetary value associated with it. Again, like if you have, let's just, like a Hulk 181 raw, if you have it slabbed up with a grade, and then we're under the assumption, which is, it goes back to the standards talk that we were having earlier.
Right.
We're under the assumption that these motherfuckers know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, which is not the case.
Nope.
But if you were to sell that book, let's just say that whatever book out of 5, if you were to sell it, it'll be an easier transaction. Like, you know what a 5 is.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you know what a 5 is. Look up on eBay, the last 5 sold for this, whatever, I'll knock off $20. Right. If it's raw, that's really subjective, so you really wouldn't know. But and that these are just perfect world scenarios. And then obviously we don't live in a perfect world.
No. You know, it's funny you say that, because like, shout out to Paul Morris. You know what I mean? He couldn't be on the show today. We would have been doing the breaking news right now if he was here, but he's not. He wouldn't be able to come on. But shout out to Paul, man. He's another brother that, you know, that I met on here, and he had a lot of slabs, you know, and it was because someone got into his head, and that was towards the, like, that beginning era of slabbing, that it was like, yo, get your shit slabbed, you could get more money. And he was like, oh, okay, fuck it, like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody, okay, you know, and he was just slabbing books, you know. And eventually he just started to see everything that we were seeing and talking about here. And he was just like, nah, man, fuck this shit. Like, I want to look at my book. Like, fuck this. I don't want the fucking money, man. I want my book. You know what I mean? And he just started tearing shit out. And now he has one, which is X-Men #1 slab. And he has that book because he's waiting to trade it. You know what I'm saying? He takes it to every con we go to. That shit is in the book bag. You know what I mean? And he knows. He's like, if I crack this shit, I'm cutting half the fucking price on this thing.
It's like driving a new car off the lot.
You drive it off the lot, you done. And we understand that. We get the concept of that. And he knows that we're dealing with vendors at these cons. That's what they want. They want to see these slabs. And he don't want to sell it. He just wants to trade it off for something big that he feels it's a little bigger than that one X-Men for him. You know what I'm saying? If he could get a really sharp one FF, that's to him trumps that one, you know, number one X-Men for him. You know what I'm saying? So if he could pull that trade off, you know what I mean, or trade with money and still be able to pick up some books, he good. You know what I mean? But we understand the concept of that. It's not like a lot of people, you see it on my IG, no slabs, parentheses. Yeah, that's just because I don't own any slabs. But I understand the concept of it. You get what I'm saying? If I had that one X-Men slab, I would do the same fucking thing. Because I'll be trying to get that Hulk number one. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, for that Hulk one. You get me? So that's my, you know, if y'all ain't know, Hulk is my dude. Morbius is my name. That's a different story. I'll break that down another day. But Hulk is my dude. You know what I'm saying?
That's my grail too. That Hulk.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's my guy. So if I could get that Hulk number one off some crazy slab that I just happen to have, or over time I finagled that, fuck yeah, I'm not gonna crack that shit. You know what I'm saying? But if it's something for the PC that I got a great deal off and it's a sharp 7.5.8, I'm cracking the shit out that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna throw it in the box. That's
the beauty of this community. Is that is what I love the most about this community. Is that you have different people with different likes. And because of that, you're able to do exactly what Paul's trying to do, which is maybe I got something that's worth more to somebody than it is to me. You know what I'm saying? But as you just showed, Fable touched on exactly what I said at the top of the show. That's when I start the purge, that's when I'm gonna start slabbing. Because to me, it doesn't matter. I respect what Morbius said, you know, about how he feels about CGC and all them. But at the end of the day, I need to put my books I need to package my books to make it more attractive to who's buying it.
Yes.
And if the people buying it, if they believe in CGC, hey, go to town, bro. If that's your shit, then I'm gonna give you the assurance that makes that pulls the money out of your pocket and goes into my pocket.
Right. Right. And I'll be the first one. I don't knock nobody hustle. That's your hustle. That's your hustle. But as long as you do it clean, because right now people do that hustle, but then they do some grimy shit. We don't want to talk about the acetate covers, but that's another subject. I'll eventually get to that. But yeah.
You
so
mean this acetate cover? No.
Yeah, you mean these 14 covers right here?
I had an acetate. I got mad shit for it.
Oh, you motherfucker, right?
Again, to my point from before, right? So I was able to get an acetate cover, and full transparency, sold it on eBay. So I paid sticker for it, whatever it was, $85 before they upped the price. I paid $85 for it. I sold it on eBay for $210. The next night on In the Mix, I did the cash wheel. So we was doing the giveaway. So I gave away books. I gave away $500 in cash on In the Mix, and it was crazy. But that's how I'm able to fund that, by doing that. And I got a lot of shit for showing that book. And then I had to tell everybody, yo, yeah, I bought it for this, but I sold it and I gave away like all this money or whatever. So
it's just, you know, it's different how you go about it. Obviously, the book is the book. You know, me personally, I just would have stood away from that book because only it does is just facilitates the fact that these books can exist. You know what I mean? That it's okay for these books to exist, should I say? You know what I mean? And that's, you know, we got this one. In my mind, I'm thinking, where's the next one coming? How bad is the next one gonna be?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they felt like, well, they got away with this, we could get away with another version of this. You know what I mean? And then eventually it's gonna water down, you know, the quality of the books that we're actually investing in. And not just me, it's just everybody, man. This shit affects the whole community. You know, when you, I mean, the fact, the stupidity that you got a fucking movie that comes out, and then because of a character is in it, you got a book that blows up that got nothing to fucking do with the movie. If anything, they got this from the book. So how the fuck is the movie dictating the book when the book is dictated the movie? Like, this shit don't make no fucking sense to me. But anyway, that's a whole nother fucking topic. But that's my point. It's just that you got all this dumb shit going on, you know, and people need to realize that it's a trickle effect. You know what I mean? Like right now, we kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, but it really dictates a standard for future people, you know. So
100%, I agree that the acetate book was an anomaly. But I wanted to touch on something that Krash said when he was just like, you know, when you want to get top dollar, we send it to CGC, whatever.
Definitely.
we as a community need to change that. I don't think there's any difference between CGC and CBCS. I think they have their good days and they have their bad days. There's no reason why CGC needs to corner the market just because they say that they're the best. Like, we as a community need to speak out, and the best way to facilitate change is to speak with our wallets and shit. You know what I mean? Don't send the stuff to CGC if it's going to take 100 years over there. Send it to CBCS. I think a slab is a slab. It's at PGX. But a slab is a slab. Like, there's no reason why these dudes say send it to us because we're the best, when there's no validation or justification on why you're the best. Like, they've never established that.
Yeah, I think if from my standard, I'm like the worst person to even like have this conversation with, because with me, I'm like, how about we get rid of fucking grading itself? Like, can we just get rid of this plastic? You know how much we could save the planet on just all this fucking plastic that we're fucking. You see me now? I'm like a fucking environmentalist and shit. Like, that's how bad I fucking despise like CGC and grade. Like, I've become an environmentalist now.
Hi, Captain Planet.
I'm gonna become a motherfucking biologist, B. That's what, you know. And so I'm changing careers, man, from a mechanical engineer to motherfucking biologist now, man, because of CGC. You know, we got to save the planet, man. Stop buying this plastic. But no, I mean, in general, like that's the way I see it, man. Like, if we could even eliminate that, man, it's like we could get back this comic game, this you know, comic collecting that it was prior to CGC. There's always been money value to books. That is undeniable. But I felt like CGC took a book that normally would have gone for like 200, it just skyrocketed to like fucking $3,000. Just because these motherfuckers who don't know shit about comic books said, or even got the grading wrong, are gonna tell you, yeah, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And fuck what y'all think. We're just gonna tell you this is what we think, and y'all gonna have to accept that. You know, and people accepted it, and now it's become the norm, and now we have to deal with that. So I think that in general, man, we should just get rid of that shit, man. Like, I don't see the value it's done to the community overall. It's done great for people who sell books, but not people who truly collect books. That's where the difference. You have a big divide. You know what I mean? Where you have people that I've talked to, like a lot of my people, you know, friends that we just collect, and they're like, "Fuck, I can't get because fucking this. I can't get a fucking raw book because everything is fucking graded now." You go to cons, it's like 95% of all the books on the wall graded, and you're like, I don't want to pay that price. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why I have to. Like, you know, and I think like a lot of us are just frustrated with that, you know, because of that aspect of where the market is now with these graded copies, you know, or just grading a book. You know, I think that really put a hinder on just the average collector, you know.
I think that comes with the over commercialization of anything, and there's a certain level of acceptance that some people have to have. The reason I'm so passe when it comes to this whole CGC thing, because I feel what DJ Linx is saying, that if we as the community, we should dictate what goes on and we should change these things, right? But I've been around this world long enough, and especially with hip hop, to see how, like the example with Puffy, you know, I anybody that knew me back in the day will tell you the same way Morb feels about CGC, the same way I felt about Puffy and his whole machine. It's like, so because he says this shit is dope, that means it's dope. This guy that doesn't really know shit about hip hop, he's an R&B dude, but now all of a sudden he's the hip hop guy because he had one great artist with Biggie, right? And then now all of a sudden he's the mogul of hip hop because he's making money. And what you start realizing is with anything that has art involved, there's always this is a capitalist country. Yes. There is always gonna be someone who's gonna figure out a way to make money from it by bastardizing it. They don't give a shit about what it is that they're hustling. They just worried about the next hustle. So that all that being said, I say to myself, okay, yeah, there's certain things that we can change in the community, and there's certain things that we can't change in the community. No. And one thing I learned in hip hop was I cannot change the commercial machine, but at least, thank goodness, there's still a place that I can go that has a community, which is the underground New York hip hop community that I grew up in, that I can still appreciate hip hop, love hip hop, and enjoy hip hop without having to belong to that big machine. So in essence, I do the same thing with comic books, where that we could make a difference and say maybe we need to get our own CGC. But history has shown me that if you really want to make money, then you can't give a shit, because the moment you start giving a shit, then you cut your own money.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
you're absolutely right. That was
like,
a great analogy with the commercialization of hip hop. Perfect analogy.
Right.
Yeah.
He was
The same
shit
shit like going on. Like first it was Slabs,
right.
now it's Whatnot.
Right. So it's like talking from like a hip hop purist, like those things that you were saying, Krash, it's like dead on. So it's the same thing for like a comic purist, you know what I mean? Like for you're looking at the way things are now, and it's like, nah, this is some bullshit. Like, I don't agree with the way none of this is. And like you said, we are grateful to have people in the community that are in the same boat that you are. Or if they're not, they still have that understanding. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's going to be 100% the same. Like, that's not going to happen. But you can make connections with people just based on understanding. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's so dope about the community, because there's a lot of people here, you know what I mean, that we've had discussions about. And, you know, it's not 100% agreed upon. But the fact that we still have that understanding of the bigger picture is what matters. You know what I mean? That we could come to that bigger picture understanding and look at it and be like, you know what, this is kind of fucked up. This is, you know, it's not the way it's supposed to be, because even what, like, you know, Paul had just said, you know, it really, you know, takes away, you know, from people to really love comics and get involved into comics. Like if when I hear people tell me when I posted books, I'm gonna keep it 100. When I got on here 2.5 years ago, you know, nobody, I'm gonna say, you could go back to anybody, you know, go back to 2.5 years if they've been long enough and see when they were posting comic books, if they were posting the inside of their books or their back cover. People were not doing that. People were not doing that. And when I got on here, right, Krash, I was just like, yo, why don't I see nobody showing the inside of the book? Everybody's just concerned with the cover and the value. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show the inside, and I'm going to give a fucking full description, or try to give a full description every time of what the book contains and what the book is about. You know, yeah, it's more work. Paul be busting my balls all the time. He be like, you be doing that full description bio shit, nigga.
I
like,
love it. I look forward to it.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, you know, because I be there. I be at 6 o'clock in the morning, like, you know what I'm saying, rereading shit, like, oh shit, okay, I got it.
A lot of people go to your post just for that, bro.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Krash. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's the truth.
But
I hear in the community. I hear people say it all the time. That's half the reason they go to your post, because they're able to get a good description of the book, you know what I'm saying, without having to read the book or get put on and say, you know what, now I'm actually interested in this book. It was a cool cover and I liked it, but now that Morbius broke it down, you know what, I have even more interest in it now.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That is true, because I get a lot from people. Sometimes I get surprised, man, that been collecting a while, and they're like, oh shit, I never seen the inside of this book. And I'm like, nah, for real? You never saw the inside? Like, that shit, come on now. Like, you got to see the inside of this shit. But, you know, I think that's why I do what I do, is because it's like I wanted people to see that there's just more to just a cover and value. You got artists in here, you got creators in here, you got, you know, it's a lot going on inside this book. And the best part about me being, you know, such a Marvel fan, it was all about the continuity. You know, so a lot of times I try to find these little continuities and add it to it. So you could be like, yo, this storyline actually took place here, and then it breaks down here, and then he said this would take place in this book to get people to go read that book. You know what I mean? So I think that, to me, that's where my passion comes from, is just the reading aspect of it and the artistry of it is what really drives me. You know what I mean? What really gets me when I see a book, like I see a book in the slab, I'll fucking love that picture. I'll be like, yo, fire. But I'm talking about the book. I'm not talking about the grade. I'm not talking about the slab. I'm talking about the actual book. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo, that book is fire. You know what I'm saying? But I will still show love. And I'm not gonna be on some hater shit because it's like, yo, crack that shit, bro. I only do that to friends to bust their balls. You know? I'm like, yo, we need to crack that bitch. But like, to anyone else, I'll be like, yo, that's fire, bro. Put some fire emojis on there. I'll be like, yo, that's dope. Love the story. Say again?
Slab timber.
Slab timber. You know what I'm saying? It's coming. That's it. They've been hitting me with it all fucking day. You know, so I gotta show love though. I gotta show love for the book.
I'm gonna send you a slab, and for Slab Timber, just post that one slab every single day. the same slab. Just tilted a little bit.
Exactly.
No, but back, and I know the people in the comments are saying the same thing. I'm still like mind blown by the analogy that you use with Puffy. Is the perfect analogy to describe what we're talking about. Crazy.
Yeah.
So now every time I look at a slab, I'm just gonna hear take that.
Take that.
Yo, perfect.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people to show they know that a lot of my analogies come from hip hop. I look at the world through a lens of hip hop, so and I see everything that's associated with hip hop. So that's the best way for me to explain stuff.
Exactly, and he got a big hip hop history, man. Definitely, he's I don't know. You ever heard of the Arsonist?
Of course.
Yeah, that's he made the logo. He was a group original member of the Arsonist. I know I gotta big you up, Krash. You know, look at him, he getting all embarrassed. Gotta big him up. Because I used to listen to these guys. I used to listen to these dudes, and when I met them and shit, I wanted to battle these dudes. It's fucking hilarious, man. I was like 18, met them at it was Summer Jam. I think it was like Summer Jam fucking 7 or some shit like that. And I met these dudes, and we fucking were like, I wanted to battle them. They looked at me like, man, get out of here. I was like, yo, what's up with the cipher, son? I was like, what's good? Cipher. You know what I'm saying? And they just walked by me like, man, get out of here. You know? But anyway, like, I think that this was a dope conversation, man. I really appreciate you, Linx, man. I really appreciate you being honest with us and just letting it, you know, just come off the cuff without holding back and not, you know, and just being real about it. You know what I mean? I think that translates a lot from a person when they're just genuine about it, whether it's something you don't agree with, but you have to respect it. You know what I mean? You gotta respect where a person is coming from when they're really genuine about it. You know what I mean? So you like, yo, I respect that, you know, and I think that you're one of the people in the community that are doing what they need to do. You're definitely giving back to the community. I see you all the time doing giveaways, you know, and you're always doing your show. You're on top of it, giving content after content, you know, and you're definitely supporting in the community as you showing love, you know what I mean? Because you got people who are in the community don't show love, but you always showing love. You know what I mean?
Cry.
So yeah, man. But that's why I had to have you on, man, because I got nothing but love for you. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely big in the community. You're doing a lot, man. You got a lot of great stuff behind you on your wall. You're always showing great stuff. I don't know how you do those mystery boxes. I don't do mystery boxes, bro. So amen to you. Because when you open a mystery box, I'll be like, oh my God, yo, how much you spend on that? Hey, yo, Smeel, like this guy, what's wrong with him? You know, I can't do mystery box and raffles. Y'all already know how I am. I can't do that shit. Like it drives me crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's funny. I could do a mystery box all day. Raffles.
Nah, you ain't fucking with the raffles.
I can't do it. If I do a raffle, it's because I fuck with you and I want to support you. But a lot of the times, I'll buy So like my guy, yeah, man, I got comics. He does a lot of raffles. So what happens is, I guess, like he'll have a raffle on a Friday, and I know I got the show on a Friday, and I'll be like, you know what? Let me get 5 spots in your raffle. I'm gonna give away all 5 spots.
Right, exactly.
With the raffle. Even with a mystery box, if you get shitty comics, you still get shitty comics. At least you have something. With the raffle, if you lose, you just wasted your money.
Right, exactly. Yo, and shout out to
look at that way.
Right. Shout out to Ex-Illusionary, because when we first met a few years back when I got on, he would always be trying to get me into his raffles, bro. And his raffles is like, nigga, those shits are like 10 spots, $5,000, like for X-Men 1. Like,
so I got his raffle a couple of months ago for the Amazing Fantasy. Yo, for the Amazing Fantasy, I was
you got it? Oh.
No, but not the Big Willie, the main.
Oh, right. Just
the mini, it was $57, and I was just like, $500 mystery box all day, no problem. $57 on a mini? Yo, and I did it, and I was like, whatever. But shout out to X, man. X is a good dude. I got my
shout out to X, man. He was over there at King Kong. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He was hanging out looking fucking extra dip with his
man. That dude is
he stayed looking fresh to death all day, man. With his like $1,000 hoodie and his sweater on and shit.
Yeah, he's wild, man.
With his Coogee, you know what I'm saying?
He's the community's puffy in a good way.
He's puffy. He's definitely puffy, right? He got that puffy aura and shit. But he got the good essence of puffy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, but now we still got a few minutes to hang out. And real quick, I'm gonna take this opportunity right now because the end of the show, something I want to do, something I wanted to incorporate into the show, just to show love back to the community, man. I want to give a shout out to one of the community members. I put his link in the description. I hope you guys follow this brother. He's a great guy. I actually met him about a few weeks back at another con, and he's a great guy. I've known him on internet for a while. He has a great vinyl collection. He has a great comic collection. Shout out to Obi-Wan. If y'all not following this guy, follow this brother, man. He's a great person in the community. You know what I mean? Help build up his page, man. He's a great guy. And his link is in the description. So make sure you give this brother some love. Great person, amazing human being, man. I love meeting people like this, you know, man, that you know that on the internet, they're really cool. And then when you meet them in person, man, they're just like amazing spirits. So one of those people, man, definitely Linx was one of them. Krash, a different story, man. He's just a hooligan that, you know what I mean? I pressed charges on, and then I was like, you know what? Don't worry, Judge. I'll let him slide.
Shit.
I don't want him to go to jail. He got to feed his kids. You know what I'm saying? He's just a hooligan, man. But nah, man, it was a great show, man. Linx, thank you so much for being on here. You know, I appreciate you so much, man. Like, and I think that overall, man, we as a community, you know, we need to have these talks, guys. We need to talk about this, man. We can't be over here. One thing I do not like is a jerk circle. Nobody likes a fucking jerk circle. Nobody likes to sit there hearing the fucking yes man telling you all the time that you're great, you're amazing. Yes.
There's some motherfuckers that love that shit.
Like, I was just about to say that. There's a lot of people out there that like that shit, bro.
Exactly. And that shit needs to stop because that's not being genuine. You're not doing nobody a service. You're doing a disservice to people, man. When you're there fucking just patting them on the back, telling them everything they're doing is right when it's actually not. You know what I mean? Or you're selling them a dream and they feel like, nah, man, keep it real with one another. Be genuine because they'll appreciate that. If I'm doing some dumb shit, man, I'm pretty sure Krash, Scheme, Paul, these brothers are going to check me real quick. You know what I mean? They're not going to be letting me slide and shit. Be like, yo, it's dope. Keep it up for the people. This motherfucker. But
you have to be honest, man. And you
gotta be, man. You can't, have this front because eventually it's gonna bite you in the ass. And then what y'all really want that life? Y'all really want a bullshit fake ass fucking life and fake people around you? That's whack. You know what I mean? Not at all, man. You want to keep it genuine, man, and have people who are genuine around you. And I think that that's something why I did this show, because I just want to promote that, man. I want people to understand it's okay. Put your guard down. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing TikTok videos right now. Like just be yourself. Stop the acting, you know what I mean? We're not entertaining right now, you know what I mean? Like, just be you, know, and I think that's important right now, that we need to get back to just that, the true essence of who we are and being okay with who we are and with who others are. That's the bigger one, man. We have a hard time accepting how other people are when it doesn't agree with us. And we need to stop that, guys, man. We need to stop canceling people. We need to stop putting people on the back burner because unless you're hurting people, different story.
Yeah,
you're malicious, you're hurting people, you're actually taking advantage of people, you're doing something like criminal or just unjust, of course, you know what I mean? You get the fuck out of here, you know what I mean? But if it's just on some petty shit, like, guys, we need to let go of that petty shit, man, for real. Like, we're at a point now where it's like, it's out of control, you know? But once again, I don't want to keep fucking, preaching over here.
Preach! Preach, brother, preach!
But we got, we just got to get back to that, man. And I can't wait to continue doing the show and bringing great people like you guys on here. Can't wait, to just keep breaking bread with you guys, man, the community again. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this show. It was a great fucking show. I love this talk, man. It was great. I just love the fact that everybody had like, when, what's the best thing? When I read the comments after the show, like 2-3 days later, you let it ride, people. Everybody has a difference of, I agree with Morbius. I disagree with Morbius, but I agree, let's say, with Linx. I agree with this and this and that. And then you have discord within the comments. I think that's the fucking best part about it. When people just having this discord and they're just communicating with each other, it's like, there you go. Now I got motherfuckers thinking.
No, I think that's dope. And I think like, you don't always have to agree on stuff. You could disagree with people. Like we were talking backstage about like life lessons and learning stuff. It's important to be able to disagree amicably with people.
I'm sorry. This is Obi right here. I was just giving you the shout out, Obi, because he has it under a different handle. Shout out to you, Obi. I didn't even know. Yes, my daughter loved it. Oh, it didn't fit in her mouth, bro. I told you it was like a little too big. He got me like these little like Morbius fangs. It was so dope for me and my daughter. I'm sorry to cut you off, lady.
No, it's all good.
Shout out, but you were saying, continue, my brother.
No, I think it's important to like we don't always have to agree on everything. And I think that's important to highlight the differences of opinion and being able to have the discourse amicably. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not always going to agree on everything, and that's perfectly fine. That's what makes us human. If everybody agreed on everything, life would be fucking whack. For you don't have
to it'll be like one big fucking jerk circle.
Yeah, that's it with the two hands. Like, oh, shit. Wide wingspan.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to my jerk circle, Paul.
Nah, definitely, man. So I know you got to head out. I know we just hit our hour mark right now, brother. Linx, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you for coming out. Real quick, just let the people know where they can find you if they don't know.
Yeah, thank you, man. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. I feel it's funny. Like I had this conversation with another YouTuber where we're like in that we're not big channels, but we're not like small channels, and I don't want anybody to get offended by that. Just based on sub count, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like not a lot of people reach out to us. We're kind of like the forgotten. So every time I get an opportunity to come on one of these shows, especially when it's away from like comic books, like I like having the deeper conversations about stuff, even though we're in the comic book realm.
Correct.
But I just greatly appreciate the opportunity to come on here. I was super looking forward to this all day. I'm actually working. This was my lunch hour. And I gotta get back, but I greatly appreciate it, man. And anytime you want me back, I'm happy to jump on.
Definitely, brother, man. You already know you're gonna come back here. We gotta talk about. We gotta continue this conversation, man. And because there's a lot of more stuff that I wanted to interject, but due to time and our expression and our passion for it, we didn't get a chance to speak on it. But we're definitely gonna talk more about this. And yeah, brother, as you already know, man. Once again, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Once again, guys, if you're not following DJ Linx, get that comic book that's next to you. Slap yourself 30 times because you should have been following by now. You had an hour. You should have been following. You could have got off and got back on. I'm cool with that.
Yo, I want to give a quick shout out to my man Q.
Yes.
Fieldy and Wov from Stillwell.
Yes.
Go check out that album at stillwellrock.com.
Yes.
And check out their Instagram. And this is the new album. Go check it out, guys.
Yes. I noticed the top. I was like, yo, that's the T right there. He rocking.
That's the T.
You got the T on. That's what's up, man. Shout out to Q and the Stillwell crew, man. For real. But yeah, once again, guys, thank you so much. Shout out to the chat. The chat was on fire today. I appreciate you guys. Loved it, man. Everybody had their own opinion. Everybody was just in it, man. Appreciate you guys. Shout out for those who are catching the replay now. Please don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit everybody up that's in here. Subscribe to the man DJ Linx. Make sure you subscribe to Krash. And I'm going to catch y'all next week, man, because y'all already know we got some heat coming next week. I hope y'all ready for the triggering. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.